Hey everybody, this is Julio of Echale Porras Productions, and today we're going to be showing you guys how to make some awesome calzones. Let's go over what we're going to need for the dish. So to start off, the dough for our calzones, or our calzones, will be the exact same dough we used for our pizza recipes, which we've done twice before. We did it for our original pepperoni and pesto pizzas, and then last time when we did our barbecue chicken pizza on the Cuisinart 360. We won't go over the full process, but we will tell you what you need. If you want to go check out those videos to see the full process to make the dough, we'll put their little links up here and we'll put the links down in the description below. Here we have our dough, and we're just gonna do our little wachas, and it looks gorgeous. In this dough, I put some red pepper flake in there to add a little more oomph to it. So that's our dough. Same proportions as last time. It's just 3 cups of flour, 1 cup of water, 1 pack of instant dry yeast, 1 tablespoon of salt or garlic salt or whatever you want, a teaspoon of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of oil. Usually olive oil, but if you don't got olive oil, it's okay. You're gonna put that in a food processor, or you're gonna mix it by hand, and then you're gonna let it rest for, what we usually do is 3 hours now. You can do as little as an hour if you don't have the time. For one of our calzones, we're gonna be making a meat lovers. So what we're gonna use is some pepperoni, some thick cut ham, we're gonna dice up a salchicha, we're gonna use some bacon. We're gonna chop up some red onion to give it a little pop and a little more bite. We're gonna envelop that with some mozzarella cheese, and we're gonna be golden. Our second calzone is going to be using our spinach artichoke dip, which we recorded some time ago. We'll put that in the description too. But we're gonna be using our spinach artichoke dip as the filling for the other calzone, my wife's calzone. My wife's calzone that we're gonna be making. So, for the spinach artichoke dip, really simple. You're just gonna get a block of cream cheese, a 1/4 cup of both mayo and sour cream, some regular mozzarella cheese, probably about another 1/4 cup of heavy cream if you want it to be more creamy. You're gonna chop up some artichokes, chop up some spinach, as much or as little as you want, and just toss it in there with some seasonings like salt, pepper, garlic powder, and some red chili flakes for some oomph. To see the full video, you can check it out down in the description below. And our third and final calzone is just gonna be a simple pepperoni and cheese, regular pizza pie type shit. What we're gonna do first is dice up all our carne, and we're gonna brown them off in a pan with some oil real quick. Let's get to it. It doesn't matter how you cut your meats, just make sure they're all even, because evenly diced or cut food is gonna cook at the same time, and you're not gonna have any undercooked or overcooked pieces. The same thickness, same size. So there's the ham. We're gonna do our salchicha, which is the same type of salchicha we use for our Sonoran Hot Dog video. We'll have this linked in the description below. And if it's not in the description below, you can send me a message to our social medias, or leave a comment and say, dude, you forgot this shit, and I'll be like, my bad, I'll put it up. Then we're gonna take our bacon, and with our bacon we're just gonna cut it into little strips, what they call lardons, lardonis, and we're gonna get that into a separate pan. And remember, when you're doing bacon, always cook it in a cold pan, because that's gonna allow you to render out that fat and cook the bacon a lot more evenly. So let's get these in our pots, and we will be back in a minute. All right, so we have our salchichas and ham nice and browned. We have our bacon cooked. We have our onions cut up, and we are almost ready for assembly. I have the dough balls here that have been chilling. We have our oven preheating to 425. And last thing we need to do before we start rolling these out is work with our roasted red pepper, which has been steaming in this bag. We're gonna take it out, take off its skin, and get it into nice slices. Let's get this sucker out, and there it is. all weird looking. What we're gonna do first is we're just gonna get the top off. We're gonna take out the seeds. We're gonna give it a nice cut, lay it down, and just scrape off the flesh so we get that nice tender skin underneath it. What we're gonna do here is just cut it into nice strips and put that aside. Give our board a wipe down. So, moment of truth. We're gonna roll out one of our dough balls. Or I should say, my wife is gonna roll out one of our dough balls. And all we're gonna see is her hands moving gently across the board. Babe, take it from here. I tried rolling these things out before, but for some reason, I just can't get nice circles out of my dough. You've seen it in the other videos. One came out like a fucking square. The other one was kind of like a zombie head where some parts were deformed. But my wife comes out with really nice circles, so look at her attention to detail. Look at that ring right there in the video frame. Look at that perfect dough circle that I did. I'm just kidding, my wife did it. We have our dough circle kind of just like we're doing pizza, but we're gonna turn it over, we're gonna crimp the edges, and we're gonna be ready to get this bitch in the oven. We're gonna get all 3 calzones on there, and we're gonna bake them off. So, we're gonna basic bitch this and start off with pepperoni and cheese. And this one's for Vale. And this one's for Sweet Treats by Vale. Vale of Sweet Treats by Vale. If you haven't seen her videos yet, we'll put those up as well. So what we're gonna do is just get some marinara sauce, pizza sauce, spaghetti sauce, doesn't really matter. Just pasta sauce is a little runnier, but you're good either way. And we're gonna put a bit in there, not too much. You just want enough to give a nice coating, and then we're gonna put the rest of our filling. Mozzarella cheese and some pepperoni. I've been told by my producers that I must rebrand this from basic bitch pizza to classic pepperoni pizza.
You gotta bleep that.
All right, so we have our pepperoni and our cheese. What we're gonna do now is take this flap and fold it over, which is a lot more nerve-wracking than it sounds. Take that, and pop goes the weasel. There's our basic calzone shape for our classic pepperoni pizza. Like we said, you want to leave some dough on the edges, and you don't want your ingredients all the way there because we need to wrap it around basically so those ingredients and the cheese doesn't ooze out. What you're gonna want to do with your edges is you're gonna want to kind of fold it in, and then from there you're gonna start folding your dough in, kind of like what they do with dumplings, folding and pinching. And if it doesn't come out perfect, it's okay. This for me is nerve-wracking. Arts and craft cooking, no problem. Getting on camera and talking, no problem. Having to do some arts and crafts, that's where they got me fucked up. As you can see, my folds here are really good, and then they get, but that's all right. If you want, instead of folding it like that, you can take a fork and just crimp it down and get that old school toaster strudel look. But we're gonna stick with that because I think that's as good as it's gonna get. So we're gonna take that and we're gonna put it on our baking sheet twice more, and I'm gonna show you that my circles do not come out as good as my wife's. Why? I don't know. And there's my dough. Not as round, kind of like a rectangle oval type thing, but it's okay because I love it and that's all that matters. And you can still shape this into an awesome calzone. As long as you flip it and you crimp it correctly, it's all good. So my calzone is gonna be a meat lovers. So it's gonna start off with the same base as the classic, some sauce, some cheese, some pepperoni, but we're also gonna be adding in our bacon, our salchicha and ham, our red onions, and our roasted red bell peppers. Get this one and get it on there as well. All right, our last calzone is ready to be assembled. As we said before, for this calzone, we're gonna be using our spinach artichoke dip as a base, which we got right here. So we don't need marinara sauce because that doesn't really go with the flavor profile we're trying to create here. Splat it on, spread it out a bit. Got the spinach and artichoke down. We're gonna top it off with some bacon. We're gonna go with some ham and some roasted red pepper, which other than adding flavor is gonna add some nice color pop to the video and to the dish. And these kind of look like those Uncrustable, those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches they used to have in elementary school. That's the last one. Gonna pick it up, place it right next to the monster we have on here. And these suckers are just about ready to go in. We're gonna put some slits on the top. That's gonna allow the steam to escape while these things are baking. And last thing before we get these in, we're gonna just hit them with some egg wash, which is just an egg mixed with some water. The tops get nice and brown and get all pretty looking. We're just gonna doesn't have to be too heavy of a coating. We're also gonna be throwing in some biscuits into the oven at the same time as our garlic bread substitute. If you want the recipe to that can be found on the box. All right, the biscuits are ready, the calzones are ready. Let's get them in the oven and we're gonna let them ride at 425 for about 15 minutes or until the crust is nice and golden brown. So let's get those in. And here they are, beautiful, huge. They smell gorgeous, they look gorgeous. Look at that cheese. And that's why we put those slits, so that cheese wouldn't. So while these things are still hot, we have some garlic butter, which is just melted butter with garlic powder, a little bit of salt and parsley that we're gonna put over this while it's still hot, so it kind of cooks in still. The focus is on our calzones, and these are gorgeous. Now it's time to get a cross section. Look at that sucker. Look at that sucker. Woo! As Chef John of Food Wishes says, fork don't lie. Crispy. In 3, 2, 1. Oof. Meat lovers calzone. That is gorgeous. Woo! Let's do another one just because we can. Here we got our spinach artichoke dip with bacon and ham. And gorgeous. That's why we put color in our dishes. For that color pop. And open. Hot pocket. All right, let's try this out. You can use a fork and knife, or you can just pick it up and take a bite. Oh, that is great. Woo! If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you want to see what we're coming up with next, hit the subscribe button. This is great. I'm hungry. We're hungry. We want to eat. Let's end this out. Stay safe. Stay awesome. Peace. Oh shit, I forgot one of our biscuits.